From Gimlet Media, this is The Nod. I am Brittany Luce.
And I'm Eric Eddings. So, a few weeks back, we wanted to celebrate the launch of this very show with a live taping of The Nod.
Yes, and it was the definition of lit, of popping, of hopping, of jumping, skipping, everything. It was like the most fun that could possibly be had on a Wednesday night.
All
honestly.
the verbs.
Basically, exactly. But you don't have to be salty if you missed it. You don't have to be like that. Because today we are going to share a portion of that live show with you. This game that we played with our panelists from that night. Amina Tuso from Call Your Girlfriend and On She Goes podcasts. And the writer from The New Yorker, Vincent Cunningham.
Yes, and the two of them were perfect guests for the very first edition of a new segment that we're going to debut right here, right now. Enjoy. We like to call this Good for the Blacks.
Yes.
I love that music. It
Puts you in a mood.
It's so good.
I want it to play when I come to the club, like when I step out.
I'm not going to roast you for not going to the club, though.
All right, so I think we've all been in the position at some point where we're faced with like an awkward thing that is like somehow related to black people. Like there's a time that we found out that the guy who carries the nuclear football for Donald Trump was a black man. It was a little strange, caught me off guard.
I am still shocked.
Right? Or the fact that like the Madea Halloween movie made almost $100 million. I don't know how to feel about that. And like we're often forced to quickly decide like, is this phenomenon actually a good thing for black folks? You're pressed at the water cooler, like, how do you feel about Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart's talk show?
Right.
And you're like, I don't know. Wow. Frankly, these are really time-consuming decisions to make.
So that is where we come in?
Yes.
With Good for the Blacks, Eric and I, and tonight our esteemed guests,
Yes, it's true.
We break these phenomena down and we take an official vote to let you know definitively whether or not this thing is good or bad for black people. We're doing all the work for you. We are saving you hours of
So
Twitter
much time.
searches and think piece scrolling and like sleepless nights.
Yeah, you're welcome. So today we are going to be talking about this season of The Bachelorette, which features Rachel Lindsay, and she is the first black bachelorette.
Right. So as she is the first black bachelorette, like this season has been full of cringeworthy moments and also like very awkward racial conversations. But I will say there has been some genuine romance. And what we're gonna do tonight is we're gonna have a nice little roundtable discussion. And we're gonna basically decide like, was this worth it? So Vincent and Amina, if you look on this table back here, everyone has a church fan. Because we're about to take just a quick vote.
Yes, up, down.
Because we keep it official around here. So basically, for the initial vote, this is how we go. For the initial vote, if you think it's good, you're going to have a brown thumbs up emoji with Obama's face.
Yes, it's true.
I know you guys can't wait to see who's on the back with the thumbs down. And on the other side of thumbs down, this is Ben Carson.
Yes. Yes.
It's just,
We try to make it easy for you.
yeah.
So I think we'll just go down the line. Brittany, do you want to up, down real quick, The Bachelorette?
Yeah, right now, as of right now, and this could be controversial, I don't know, I still think it's good.
I'm a hard bad for the blacks. I personally am, straight up.
The entire phenomenon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's insane. It's amazing for black people, especially for black women. So, yes.
Sorry, man. I'm gonna also go good. It's good for the black.
That's fine. Somebody's
good
got to
for the
go out
black.
on that limb.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with it being me in this particular moment.
Okay, Ben Carson.
That really hurt. Like, that's worse than what Brittany says to me on a daily basis. Let's dig into the pros and cons. My only real pro is that like this is the like most amount of black people and especially like black men I've ever seen in like 1 hour of network television. Like is fascinating. But that actually is all I got. So Mina, do you have a pro?
I mostly have pros. It's one, she's a black woman, so like yes, that's always good. Two, like, what other TV show do you have on like mainstream like white TV where a Black woman just gets to do everything she wants? She's like out here traveling.
Yes.
She's like buying these dummies watches. She is out here sledding in a weave. Just
A good weed.
just like
A weave is
living
nice.
your best life. But also, you know, she said that she grew up in like majority like white spaces. And I'm sure that like when she was younger, she was not the hot one in like middle school or high school. And so like what a great scam to come back on TV and like kiss all of the boys who rejected you when you were younger. You know, she's smart, she's beautiful, she's like better than most of the other bachelorettes we've had. And even though the producers like set her up for all of these like really dumb conversations about, you know, it's like they let a racist on the show because, and they thought that like we wouldn't know. It's like, you guys do better vetting than the entire Trump administration. There's no way a racist gets on here and like they don't know. But at the same time, you know, like she's been able to have these really these conversations with like Black men that I've never seen on TV. I've never seen like two Black people on TV like say, hi, I've actually like have never dated a Black woman, and the Black woman like doesn't flip a table and instead says, I didn't know that about you. That's, you know, like that's fine. And then have a real conversation about that. So I think the Black Bachelorette is like net positive.
Vincent, I want to know what are your pros?
Every aspect of the show is like sort of like funny and kitschy and absurd. Like there was a part that I just truly enjoyed where this guy's like ex-girlfriend shows up at a basketball game, and it's just like, okay, everyone, you're aware of what and I just thought that it's kind of stupid and it's like a little bit banal, and like that's the true meaning of equality. When we can be just as absurd and stupid and occasionally like crazy as anybody else. In some way, Rachel is more liberated, in some way more powerful than like Obama, because he like means something, right? And it has to do with politics. And the same people that watch The Bachelorette are like, I'm sure there's someone who like hates Obama, has like burned him in effigy, and is a Rachel fan, right? Like,
And loves her. Like,
and there's this weird way in which this kind of thing is able by the way that it's kind of weirdly like antiseptic and it doesn't pretend to mean too much, that it can do more work than the like explicitly political.
My pro is like, in this context, unlike pretty much anywhere else in like pretty much all media, like two things that this Black woman gets to do. Number one, she's the prize. She's the Disney princess. These dudes are sitting around playing ridiculous mind games with each other, trying to like impress her and like get her attention. And the other thing that she gets to do is she is like making out with everybody. Like I had never really watched The Bachelorette before.
No, she's
And I
a
was sitting
serious
there-
horn dog. Like,
Yeah, no.
serious.
I don't even want to talk about. There's this guy on there named Peter. Peter, thank you. Peter is fine. Exactly. Peter is fine. Peter is
Hyde is in
fine.
the building.
Peter is so fine. And also, I've done like so much deep Instagram stalking of Peter. All Peter's friends are Black from back in Wisconsin. It's so deep. It's so deep. It's so deep. But like in the episode from this past week, there's this date that she has in like Switzerland, and because that's what you do on the third date. And she's like in the snow in like the Swiss Alps, like snuggled up with Peter's fine ass, and she is making out. Like she and Peter spent 3 hours in a hot tub on a date a couple weeks ago. I was like, whoa, like this is amazing. They have this thing called, is it the Fantasy Suite? That's what it's called. And in the Fantasy Suite, it goes down.
things happen. Things happen.
And right, and I love that this Black woman is gonna have sex with all these dudes, you know what I mean? And all of them are like, man, they're like, hope she likes me after the Fantasy Suite. And like, no one's like, oh, this Black woman is a bed wench. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, she doesn't, like, she gets to totally like, this is a real Black woman right here, and she's gonna have sex with 4 of you, and all you guys are gonna be shaking in your boots hoping that she thought it was good. And that's amazing. But the thing that I want to know though from you though, Eric, is like, I'm very curious. Why for you is the representation just not enough?
I think this gets us into the cons.
The one con.
I could go deep. But like for me, the representation, I actually agree with almost all of your all your pros. Like Rachel is awesome. Like she's really fun to watch. She's really relatable. Like she looks like the people I know. And it's really exciting to see other people watch her just be herself and like this volume of people. But like how they like treat the people on the show, specifically the black people on this show, like really actually rubs me the wrong way in a way that like other dating shows, like even like For the Love of Ray J, like doesn't actually like
This
bother
man
me
has a
that much.
PhD in Love of Ray J. Like, don't laugh. He knows.
Classic, peak TV actually. But seriously though, like the people on the show, like they put all the black people in this like really awkward position to the point where you can see how cognizant they are that they are being watched and how uncomfortable they are that they're being watched. There was one bachelor, Kenny, and he was getting into it with Lee, who's like the racist bachelor. Like, I mean, we just got to be honest about it. And like he was calling him aggressive, and they were trying to tell the guy about it, and it was just this like weird back and forth. Actually, we have a clip.
Tell me that's not aggressive. Tell me that was not.
I'm not going to say the words, man.
But why? If you're going to be honest.
When you call him aggressive, there is a long-standing history in this country of regarding black men in America as aggressive to justify a lot of other things.
So he's
right?
he's the guy that gets mad and plays the race card and tries to get away with everything he does.
I don't
his own, when
think-
he can't control himself.
Listen, I don't think he meant to play the race card. I think he truly was offended by it.
Really?
By that choice of word.
Being a black, I'm gonna get emotional. The pressures that I feel about being a black woman and what that is and how, I'm gonna talk about it. I get pressured from so many different ways being in this position. And I did not want to get into all of this tonight. And I already know what people are gonna say about me and judge me for the decisions that I'm making. I'm going to be the one who has to deal with that and nobody else. And that's a lot.
So like that is good TV. I'm sure people like really enjoyed that. It's a moment got probably shared around a lot. But I don't know how healthy that is. Like to put these black folks in this position where they constantly have to do this work of like educating, the racist white folks around them. Like that's a lot for me personally to see them go through that and like having to deal with that. And like, sure, maybe it benefits like, like a few white people in middle America who've never come across a black person before. Or in New York, let's be real. But like, it just, I don't know, it just seems like a lot. To me, like, I'm not sure that that's worth it.
That clip makes me think, because like, as that was happening, there was this like weird like piano, like boom, boom, all this happening. And it made me think, right, that a thing that we grew up with that doesn't really happen anymore, just like the very special episode where like Kelly like is all of a sudden on speed and she's like, like she's so a maniac, excited. Right? I'm so excited. And weirdly, I think this goes to like how we think people learn this kind of lesson. Because weirdly, the ways that we've been doing it, like whatever it is, like my work, think pieces or whatever, the ways that we've been trying to do this work, right? In ways, something's not happening. So maybe the very special episode has always been the way. I truly do believe that there are people who do not understand that like the word aggressive can be a coded word. I do believe it. And I just wonder sometimes, and maybe that's like a condescending thing to think, that like this is like the Bachelorette is the way that someone's gonna learn something that they didn't learn in any other way, but I do wonder.
I think that for me, like having her on a show like this, even though the show itself is like very mediocre, but I'm like, my God, we like deserve to be mediocre like everybody else. Because I think that the experience of watching television as a person of color, and I think especially as a Black person, is that you are always on this like high alert for how the person on the screen is gonna embarrass you and like the repercussions that it's gonna have for you. And my God, white people don't watch TV like that. Like they just get to enjoy it. And so I just want to watch dumb TV and enjoy that too, right? And it's the same reason I watch Love and Hip Hop. It's the same reason I like love For the Love of Ray J. Like he's a mastermind. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, like I mean, I do love the VH1 shows. It's actually specifically like the Bachelorette franchise that feels off to me for some reason.
Do you like the other shows because they like there's like no there's no like intermingling in the other shows. Like they're separate.
Separate but equal.
Yeah, they're separate but equal.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real.
Like
the
Rock
black
of
shows are
Love,
separate but
that's
better.
Better, yeah. It might be. Like, I mean, for the most part, like, even, and actually one of my favorite shows is like Real Housewives of Potomac.
Ooh.
Real Housewives of Potomac is
I can't watch that show.
fascinating.
It really stresses
The
me
paper
out.
bag
That's a
test
show
one.
that I think is actually bad for black people. Ben Carson.
But like,
like that show is.
that show is intense, but they have like similar conversations. But what is fascinating to me about it is like it's happening within a lot of different like class dynamics and even racial dynamics between different black people, and like something about that feels more like normal and a touch more comfortable, if you will. If maybe if it's just because like having that conversation, even having another difficult conversation with another black person, honestly is not as taxing as doing that same work with someone who is white, because it's just like there's certain points that you just don't have to concede. Like there's a little bit of baseline. Even with Ben Carson, we could probably get to some piece of common ground.
Good luck with that.
Going out on hope.
He's going to tell you a story about getting stuck up in Popeyes, and he's going to that's going to be the end of that.
First of all, he called it the Popeyes establishment,
All right.
which is how I know he
As
did not
one
go
does.
there.
Wait, but I want to hear what your cons are. What is like not making you excited about The Bachelorette?
If there is a con, I think it's the way that the black guys are situated. Because at the beginning, there's like this weird jockeying where the guys are like making alliances. It's like, is this a pack of wolves, or are these? You know, it's like weird sexually. But their situation, in my sense, that like these guys have an upper hand. Like the thing happened to me where I was like thinking about them like they're gonna appeal to her on racial grounds. And then,
Come on, Rachel.
yeah, exactly.
Do it for
Like,
the culture.
Yeah. They're going to make an oblique reference to like church fans or something, and it's going to work on her. And then this is that, like, I felt that happened to me immediately. And then after that, I was like, ooh, that's kind of fucked up.
Well, one of the problems that like compounds it honestly is class, right? And I think that a lot of times when people think like very simplistically about race, they're just like, okay, here are the things that divide us. But the thing on the show that has been really fascinating is like the thing that you were saying with the men is that Rachel clearly comes from like a better off background. And the truth is that like a lot of the men like do not. That dynamic also makes me really uncomfortable. They never talk about money on this show. They never talk about like people of color and like access to money. And even the idea of a hometown date is crazy. Like, if I had to take somebody on a hometown date, like, you're only meeting my family. Like, you're definitely not meeting my family. That's crazy. Like, because you're like, not everybody comes from this, like, weird cookie cutter, like, functional, like, idea of what a family is. And so they just, like, they like, just, like, culturally pit you against each other in a way that is, it's like the show has not caught up to where America is, because even a lot of the white bachelors, they all have black friends and black family members. Like I did a deep dive on all of their social medias, and they're like all down for the swirl. I was like, this is not shocking. You know what, like, you know, like they will all know what to do when they put their hands in her hair and there's a track. Like nobody's gonna flip out. And so, you know, I think that that's what's sad about the show to me, is that ABC is still stuck in like 1950, and it just blows my mind to me that nobody is like making a TV show that can appeal to people on multicultural grounds. I also like don't believe that somebody is watching this show and going, oh, like I've learned something about black people today. I think that like people are fairly set in their ways. Like people are good or evil for like different reasons, but like TV is not the educational tool that we think it is.
That feels like a strong con.
That does feel like a show. Because I'm like, my only con was like, I think they could have picked her some better men. You know, I was like, there's some
Yeah, but
guy
like,
who
what
left
kind
you
of
down.
man goes on a TV show that that to like meet somebody
If
to
there's one
marry?
Peter,
They're all idiots.
if there's one Peter, there are more. But
Yes.
it is actually time for us to take our final vote, starting with Vincent.
My final vote remains, it is good. But I will say that I actually am very compelled by Amina's thing about, maybe I am a little bit of a Pollyanna about TV. I believe in TV, but maybe I believe in TV too much. Especially network TV, which is in this weird thing where like, I don't even get it. I'm one of these, cord cutter people. I watched this at my in-laws' house. So I hadn't thought about the sort of diminishing power of TV in this at all. So like, part of what maybe I thought was a pro might not be as much of a pro.
Come to the dark side.
All right. Such a heel.
Always an optimist, but
Amina?
I remain very pro. Get it, Rachel. Get all the things.
So one, I am here for Rachel, and I think it is significant, like who she is and how she is on TV. But I don't know, something still feels. I don't give them that much credit for doing this now. And while this season has been like really enjoyable, surprisingly enjoyable, I don't know, it still kind of doesn't do it for me. So sadly, my vote has not changed.
You don't look that sad. You don't look that sad.
But I say bad for the blacks.
Y'all know how I feel. I'm here for Rachel. I think that she is among the best of what America has to offer. And hopefully our society won't devolve to this point, but it's possible our children could be celebrating her in Black History Month in 20 years. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm riding the wave of the future. Good for the blacks.
All right.
So wait, what does that bring the final?
I think I'm outnumbered. I think that means the Bachelorette is good for the blacks.
Yep.
All right.
So if somebody asks you, you already know what the answer is. Unless you're not black, in which you should deflect to another black person.
Yes, please.
And if
Don't do it.
there are no black people around, you need to take shelter. After the break, we are going to do a lightning round of good 4-4-4 the blacks. This episode of The Nod is brought to you by Burrow.
Burrow makes luxury couches for real life. And recently, Burrow sent me a couch. It came in 4 boxes, and I gotta say, it was pretty easy to assemble.
I know. I mean, I have one. I do. I had one first.
Okay, it's competition.
With you, it always is.
Burrow couches are modular, meaning you can customize the size of your couch to fit your lifestyle. And you can also customize things like color and armrests.
Wait, so what does your couch look like? Like, what did you get?
So I got 3-seater. And then I wanted something kind of bright, so I got the gray, the light gray.
So basically what you're telling me is that you picked out a couch that is exactly like the one that I have.
We have mostly the same couch, but you got the low arms, and I got the high arms. And I didn't consider, now mind you, the couch looks great, but I came over to your apartment recently.
Yeah, my domicile.
And I happened to like lay my head down on the low arm side.
Nice, right?
And I realized, damn, I wanted the low arms.
Even when it comes to customizing a couch, I literally always win.
You know what? Never mind. I love the high arms. Hurry and get your own unique Burrow couch today. And to get $50 off your order, use promo code THENOD at burrow.com.
That's BURROW.com. Offer code THENOD. So we are going to do just one lightning round
Yes,
of
very
Good
quick.
for the Blacks. So I'm going to give one topic really quick. There is an album that came out recently
Yes.
Oh, God.
that is basically Lipstick Alley on wax. I'm talking about 444, okay? Jay-Z's album and he admits that he has been cheating on Beyonce since she was in her late teens when they met, up until some people say he turned 44, but basically up until like Blue was born and he realized that you should treat your wife like a human being and not cheat on her indiscriminately. But the beats are hot. Shout out No ID, shout out Guru. So Vincent, what do you say? Good or bad for the blacks?
It's a fantastic No ID album,
Right?
with occasional thoughts from Jay-Z. However, the things that make the album popular are bad for the blacks.
Interesting.
So I, as a black man, want more credit than to think that I need to be 40 whatever years old to learn how to like be a human being. So there's like the love part, which is stupid, and then there's the part that's his whole economic thing.
You want to know what's more important than throwing away money at a strip club? Credit. You ever wonder why Jewish people own all the property in America? This how they did it. Financial freedom, my only hope. Fuck living rich and dying broke. I bought some artwork for $1 million. 2 years later, that shit worth $2 million. Few years later, that shit worth $8 million. I can't wait to get this shit to my children.
I don't think that capitalism is the answer for black people. So bad for the blacks.
Amina, what say you?
I'm also squarely bad for the blacks because black men, like, you know, you get so many opportunities to grow up in a way that like black women don't. Like that was really hard. But I agree with you. For me, mostly it's all about the economics of it. I think it's like a smidge like anti-Semitic, which is not cool. Just this, I don't know. It's like black people have an obsession with like Jewish like financial structures that make me very uncomfortable all of the time. And they just like throw out these like anti-Semitic like sayings like it's cool. I don't think that that's true. But I also, I'm like, capitalism is not the way that we're going to get free. And like credit is obviously like amazing. But Jay-Z needs to, he's not like telling people why they don't have access to credit, right? So I'm going to take him up on his, on his new wisdom. In order to be good to my credit, I will not be participating in like any of his live shows or touring.
I know.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of struggling with this one. Because the thing is, obviously, I sympathize with all your criticisms. And I don't think he should get that much credit for, like, realizing that he was, like, blowing up his life and fucking up his relationship. But I do think it's important that he did this publicly in this way. Like, seeing that was fascinating because I honestly just didn't. I thought he was going. I thought he got dragged in Lemonade, and I thought that was kind of going to be a little bit of the end of it. I thought he was going to shuffle off, and like keep trying to push Tidal, and like we would go like from there. So like I would say I didn't expect this, and I think it is at least good to see it and that it happened. So I would be a little more generous with Jay-Z. Also, it's just better than like American Gangster and Kingdom Come.
Ooh,
like
Magna Carta.
Magna Carta, Holy Grail. I didn't even want to talk about
better than American Gangster? It's better than Magna Carta, which was
okay. American Gangster is an argument to have. But, But it's an argument to have.
Okay.
But I would say squeaking by. Good for the blacks.
Okay, so I'm not gonna lie. I struggled when I heard you guys' takes, Vincent and Amina. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys. The album slaps. And it sounds good. And when Beyonce shows up on that track, like every time I'm sitting there, I'm thinking like, I go back and forth because I'm like, wow, this man really played the shit out of you and you are rich as fuck. And you are so sexy and you are so good at what you do and you have such great business acumen. And I'm like, you should just leave him. But when she's on the song where she's like I'm like, wow. Like, I just want to throw up my windows and clean, and it feels like church. And that's a distraction. And sometimes I cry listening to it. I will say this. I remember I can't remember the name of the album. It might be Life is Good, the Nas album, where on the cover, he used to be married to Khalees, for those of you who've been living under a rock. And another man who blew his life up and didn't survive. But he was married to Khalees. She divorced him. She filed for divorce when she was 7 months pregnant. You don't file for divorce with somebody at that point if he fucked up. So when she left him, the only thing she left in their closet was her wedding dress. And so he's on the cover of his next album like, oh, I'm living good. I still have my ex-wife's wedding dress. I thought that was so emotionally immature. My boyfriend at the time was like, yeah, sticking it to this bitch. And I was like, okay, cool. We broke up. But but no, he didn't actually say that. But it was close. But like, I was wondering, I'm like, will ever publicly in hip hop any male rapper progress emotionally beyond this point? And I don't think that Jay-Z, I don't think anything he did was excusable, but what he did was beyond this bullshit that Nas put out 5 years ago or whatever that I thought was so toxic and so stupid. So actually, I think it's good for the blacks.
Oh man!
And now we're at a point where we have a tie.
Decision. So I think we need to put it to the audience, right?
Yeah, we do.
All right. So let's start with good for the blacks.
444.
Audience, 444.
Ooh. I can't tell if that's thin or not.
Yeah.
How many of y'all think it's bad for the blacks? Give me a boo.
Oh, sizable.
I think that the good sounded a little bit more vigorous, so I think that actually the room has decided for the culture, 444 is good for the blacks.
All right.
Damn.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Congratulations, you guys.
Congratulations. You guys are good for the blacks. The Nod is good for the blacks. That's right.
That was such a fun night.
It really was. Like, Vincent and Amina were great.
Yes.
And for those of you who are listening, you should definitely check out their work. We'll link to their stuff in the show notes.
Yes, and do not worry if you missed the live show because there will definitely be more in the future. But if you want to be among the first people to know every time we have a live event, you should definitely make sure to subscribe to our newsletter, which you can do by going to gimletmedia.com/thenod. Or you can follow us on Twitter at The Nod Show.
And Brittany,
Yeah?
you know what else there'll be more of?
What?
There will be more times when someone will come across something that they aren't sure is good for the blacks. And we are dedicated to help you in these moments of severe confusion and distress. So, if you are struggling to decide if something is good for the blacks, email us at goodfortheblacks@gimletmedia.com. Or you can tweet at us at The Nod Show. Just be sure to use the hashtag #GoodForTheBlacks.
Yes.
Be careful on that hashtag.
Yes.
Could get dangerous. The Nod is produced by me, Eric Eddings, with Brittany Luce, Kate Parkinson Morgan, and James T. Green. Our senior producer is Sarah Abdurrahman. We are edited by Jorge Just and Annie Rose Strasser. Engineering from Matthew Bowl and Cedric Wilson. Our theme music is by Khalid B. Special thank you to the Jerome L. Greenspace for hosting our show, and our DJ for the night, DJ Graham Drew.
And we may have mentioned this once or twice before, but as we are a new show, you know, we're trying to spread our wings. We're trying to grow. We're trying to bring more people into the fold. So we would appreciate it ever so much if, when you go on Apple Podcasts, you would just rate and review the show. And, you know, I can't tell you what to do. I can't control you, but I can suggest politely that you leave us a 5-star review.
Thanks to our sponsor, Burrow. Burrow makes luxury couches for real life.
Hurry and get your own unique Burrow couch today.
And to get $50 off your order, use promo code THENOD at burrow.com.
That's BURROW.com. Offer code THENOD.